Newman football coach Brad Laird getting ready for the 29th annual Joe Delaney Bowl Saturday at noon in Turpin Stadium. Coach, tell us about what to look for tomorrow at noon.
Well, the 15th practice, spring game, 29th annual Joe Delaney in honor of Joe. The white team will consist of the defense. The purple team will consist of the offense. And we'll have a scoring system to be able to keep score and play it like a real game. Of course, the offensive scoring system will be what it is, but the defensive scoring system will be a little bit different. They'll get points with turnovers, sacks, 3 and outs. So it's going to be great competition, and we look forward to finishing up the spring in a competitive way.
You've stressed consistency all spring. This week, since the last scrimmage, have you seen that consistency continue?
We have. Our guys have done a great job of taking what they've done in the meeting room and applying it to the field. Do we want to continue to be more consistent? Yes, but the thing that we've done in all 3 phases is we laid the groundwork of where we want to be. And these guys have done a great job throughout these 15 practices, and now to see what they retain through the off season as we come back and enter fall camp.
How critical is this game in making depth chart decisions?
Well, and that's us as coaches as we move forward after this scrimmage, the Joe Delaney Bowl, and the previous 14 practices. Our evaluation will continue throughout the summer to find out where these guys are. Are they a starter? Are they going to compete for starting jobs in August? Or are there guys that we're counting on playing time as far as backups? So we're still in the evaluation process as coaches, so it's very critical for these guys to continue to put on film what we feel like they can do on the field.
All right, round 1 went to the offense, no doubt, with 9 scores, nearly 700 yards of offense. The defense, 5 turnovers in the second scrimmage. Round 3 go to the special teams?
Round 3, I tell you, it'll be an interesting matchup. And it's good. They're 14 days into it, so they know each other a little bit better than they did day 1, and the competition will be there. And I look for very consistent play on each side of the ball. I look for special teams to make a difference in this game. I don't know if it'll be an end of the game field goal or pinning them back on punt, but I think there'll be some critical special team moments that'll have a big impact on this football game.
Okay, kicking game, however, is live or not live?
It won't be live, but we will do everything but kickoff. We will still punt. We'll still do field goal and extra points. We just won't do kickoff.
Okay, now you look at this team. Let's go offense first, and then we'll go defense. Is there a particular position group that has really blossomed, or any individual players, or is it more here and there type situation?
Well, I think the thing that you've seen as coaches and players, because we're new, learning a new scheme, and new coaches are learning players are learning coaches. So that's been the biggest development, I think, that I've seen in all 3 phases. But you look offensively, and when you lose a guy like Chris Zirkle, you got to have guys step up as far as leadership, and I've seen that with a couple offensive linemen that I thought really needed to, and were put in those situations where they did step up. Jazz Ferguson's a big receiver that was not with us last year, kind of a newcomer that came in. He was with us last year as far as practice. Now he's in a different role now as we move forward. So, I think it's been more the process of us having the opportunity to learn each other, coaches and players.
Okay, let's flip the switch and go on defense and positions and or players who have improved more than you might have expected.
Well, very similar to the offensive side of the ball, where we're learning a new scheme, new terminology. But I think the first thing you got to focus on when you look at is linebackers. The situation where we lost all of our linebackers last year, and so we got some newcomers, 2 newcomers that came in, a couple that were here last year. So they're continuing to compete. I think you look at Blake Stevenson first and foremost, that came from Trinity Valley, that's really been consistent throughout these 15 practices. Defensive line wise, you got a few guys that are returners with Zach Krolacek, Braylon Daigle, and Obina Ioma, guys that had some critical snaps last year. You've seen them progress throughout the 15 practices. And then I think you look in the back end, you see Nick Ford, who's a consistent guy at defensive back, played safety, moved in positions this year. You've really seen him, not necessarily, he's not a vocal leader, but he leads by example and has done a great job.